Well, it's not any great secret that BC has got the worst child poverty rates in Canada for the past 5 years. And this current government is in denial, and they think that the marketplace will solve all of our social and community issues, and it's not indeed working. And so the NDP have come up with a very clear position on affordable housing and the issues of homelessness and poverty, and they have committed to not only put people to work, but to infuse from a housing fund $240 million into the business of affordable housing, and that would translate into building 2,400 new units immediately and 1,200 units a year for the next 4 years. Our Liberal MLAs have done nothing on the affordable housing front in our community. There have been no new affordable units built on the North Shore, despite a major affordable housing crisis. And I would also like to add a comment that the lack of affordable housing is also driving families away from our community, which in turn affects our student population and the declining enrollment, which is having such a terribly negative effect on our education offerings in the North Shore. I think this, am I finished? Sorry. Oh, I thought I was over the, going beyond. Where is that? Here I am. My party recognizes not only the shift in demographics that results in declining enrollment, but that we also recognize that many young families cannot afford to live in North Vancouver. So our commitment to affordable housing represents a recommitment back into our community. It also does mean an economic drive. It means those units will be built, and we can finally start to begin to repair years of neglect on this particular file. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we need more rental housing. How can we accomplish this? We can offer tax incentives to developers to build rental housing. That will increase the stock of rental housing, and that will drive rents down, supply and demand. There'll be more supply, the demand will still be there, but rents will go down. And that will make it more affordable for the people in North Vancouver. Also, we need a strong provincial government that's going to work with the federal government and advocate that mortgages should be tax deductible. It's done in the States, it can be done here. Third, we need to lower taxes. We're paying too much taxes. We've got the carbon tax. Taxes are going to go up because the Liberals are going to continue spending money on wasteful pork barrel spending. We need to also offer tax credits to low-income renters. And when the government does build social housing, we need to build social housing more efficiently. The disaster at the Olympic Village with social housing wasted $1 billion of taxpayer money. I realize not all of that was social housing, but a lot of it was. The NDP and Liberals both supported this. It was supposed to be a great thing for the people. Now it's a white elephant, a $1 billion white elephant. So we need to manage our resources more efficiently and offer these incentives.
Thank you. And did you have a question?
I did, but before I begin, I think Mr. McLeod should correct himself. He mentioned that in the States, mortgages are tax deductible.
That's correct.
Add, please, that when you sell your home, the difference between what you bought it for and what you sold it for is taxable.
Right.
It's taxable,
yes.
So you don't have everything you want, right?
But your mortgage payments are tax deductible
yes,
if you live
but then when you sell the house, you
make
make that part. Over here, it's not.
Could we have your question, please?
Okay. I was going to speak about education, but really I thought I'd like to engage the whole House in this thing. When I joined the courthouse in Hong Kong in 1952, within a year or two, they took me out of the courthouse to cover a thing called a Salaries Commission. They came out from England to cover the whole civil service of Hong Kong. And they examined every class of work and said, this is what it's worth. And they've added a cost of living. And Hong Kong had complete labor peace from 1952 until 61 when I left Hong Kong to come to Canada. About education, I'm a product of a system in Hong Kong. I came first out of all the schools of my time 2 years in a row. I scored 100 marks in maths and almost every other subject. I went to my exam because it's too easy. So that's a challenge for you teachers to bring up, to teach children so that they come out that way. I listened to a program just a short while ago about...
Could we please have your question? Because we do have a number of people with questions for the candidates.
On education, are teachers overpaid? For example, someone said bus drivers are overpaid. So are teachers overpaid?
This is British Columbia. We have collective agreements. I'm not sure about Hong Kong, but our teachers negotiate and achieve collective agreements through fair and open bargaining, and the result is the wages that are the result of that, and I see no reason to change that.
I don't think that teachers are overpaid myself. I think teaching is the third most stressful job, according to studies by the New England Journal of Medicine. So I think we need to appreciate our teachers, and also we need to not go down this path in the future like other jurisdictions in North America have, by having uncredentialed teachers.
Thank you. Students in public schools come with many different educational needs, and some of you have already touched on that. If elected, what would you do to ensure the needs of each and every student are met in our schools? And I'm going to start with Ron.
And come that way.
Well, if I can pick up where I had left off with the special needs program, again, you can't just wait for the government to do something. You have to allow the opportunity for the private sector to get involved. And this is a pure case, for example. Having an opportunity to do so would allow more people, in fact, to become creative. Right now, we seem to be working in a vacuum, because we seem to be working in a dictum, for example, says you must follow these exact procedures. I think we have to break away from there. I think we have to allow the opportunity for people to be more innovative in working with children and getting those children, for example, to work and learn how to work together in advancing their education as well.
I'm not an expert on special needs, and I find it sad that teachers have to become specialists in special needs. They need resources to help them deal with that issue. Every child is different, and ideally what I'd like to see is a classroom that's small enough that you don't even realize that a kid is special needs half of the time. When you have 30 kids in a class, to me, you're creating special needs already. And let's reduce the number of special needs by reducing the class size to start with, and let's listen to the teachers and the specialists in the field and see what their needs are, would be my approach.
Well, with special needs, I do agree with Michelle. We do need the resources, and we can get the resources from cutting bureaucrats at the Ministry of Education and other jurisdictions. There's too many bureaucrats, and they're expanding the number of bureaucrats in many jurisdictions, and they're cutting back the number of teachers. So we need to shift the resources. There's a lot of special needs kids that are not being, their needs are not being met, and I think that this needs to change.